I think this is gonna be a two-part video because there are several things I wanna do. I have a few of my paintings that I wanna auction, I have a few thoughts that I wanna share. But let's just start with the thoughts because the auction shit is pretty boring. So you often hear religious people ask non-believers to prove to them that there is no God. And the most common reaction to this is to roll your eyes, facepalm yourself, and then enlighten them about how you cannot prove a negative and there's no need for you to do that because the burden of proof lies with the person making the claim and blah blah blah, you know how this goes. And this is a logical argument, I have absolutely no problem with it. It's just that when you repeat that time and time again, after a while it tends to get a bit dull. So just to keep things interesting, from now on when somebody asks me to prove that there is no God, I'm actually gonna try to do it. You see, to prove something means to demonstrate your assertions are true, by evidence or by argument. In this case, of course, you cannot use scientific evidence because God is, you know, a pile of imaginary donkey balls. So that leaves us with the arguments, and in the case of God, I take it as a simple 3-step process. Step 1, ask them to define God. What do they mean by God? Step 2, ask them why they believe it exists. Just their basic reasons. And then you can proceed to step 3, which is using common fucking sense. Very complicated stuff. Now, since most people argue for the existence of a personal monotheistic God, the creator of the universe, who's all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good, I'm gonna start with that because, like I said, it is the dominant view. Now, in order to prove that this type of God cannot exist, all you have to do is demonstrate that its given attributes cannot exist, or at least cannot exist at the same time. Easy peasy. The all-powerful part has been demolished like centuries ago when it was shown to be logically not possible. This argument is known as the omnipotence paradox and you've probably heard of it. Can God create a rock so heavy that even he cannot lift? If he cannot create such a rock, then he's not all-powerful. If he can create it, that means he cannot lift it. And that means he's not all-powerful. So the very concept of omnipotence is, like I said, a logical impossibility. I'm not gonna linger on it, many have tried to reason out of this, all of them failed. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Thomas Aquinas, sharp like a ping pong ball. Now, as far as God being all-knowing, you don't even need too much philosophical introspect, because the very holy books that tell you God is all-knowing pretty much demonstrate how he ain't. Remember one of the first stories, the one with Adam and Eve after they ate from the forbidden fruit and then they hid from God and God was looking for them and asking where they are? Why would God even need to ask that? Wasn't he supposed to know that shit already? And then he starts asking them, what have they done and have they eaten from the tree? And then when they answer, he goes on this fucking rage rant, starts cursing them, cursing the snake, cursing all life, all that bullshit. I mean, dude, you already knew what was gonna happen. You planted that fucking tree in the middle of that fucking garden knowing that they're gonna fucking eat from it. So what are you bitching about now? Psychotic, whiny little bitch. And then of course there are the times when he's like testing people. I want you to sacrifice your one and only child to show me how much you love me and fear me. Oh no, my child, no. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Well, now you don't need to do it because I was only testing your sorry ass. You can go burn a lamp now, you old fart. And you know, you may argue that this is just an act that God is putting on for whatever reason. But then there's the story of Noah. You know, when Noah makes the ark and puts all the animals in it and then it starts raining and there's this huge ass flood and everybody's drowning and the fish are like, hey, and the dolphins are like, high five, bitches. Now this is a direct quote from the Bible. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on earth and his heart was deeply troubled. And then God himself actually says, for I regret that I have made them. Now can someone please explain how can God have regrets? An all-knowing being cannot make mistakes, cannot have regrets, cannot say, oops, I'm sorry I did that. Because when he does something, he already knows what's gonna happen. And if he knows he's gonna be sorry in the future, then he would do things differently. This is not rocket science, yo. Not to mention that half the times God seems to be suffering from senility. Like during the flood, he suddenly remembers, oops, there's Noah there with the ark and the animals and shit, so I need to stop the rain. Then he creates this rainbow to remind himself that he has this deal with Noah, so now he cannot go cuckoo and kill everybody all over again. I mean, when you're all-knowing, you don't have to remember shit. You just know shit. You know everything. That's like the definition. And here, of course, there is the problem of evil, but I don't even need to get into that because what's even more absurd, to me anyway, is the belief that God is all good, while at the same time he punishes people with eternal torture in hell. There's also this paradox that God is so merciful because if you follow his stupid rules, then he will save you from hell. When hell is a place that God created to punish you if you don't follow his rules. So basically God is merciful because he saves you from himself. And I know I talked about this before, but I just love to bring it up. But we can leave this aside too, because there are two things that, for instance, every practicing Christian, and I think pretty much every practicing theist who believes in hell will tell you, is that one, hell is a horrible, horrible place. You get tortured there for all eternity, okay? You don't want to fucking go there. And two, most people are gonna end up there anyway. And yet, at the same time, these people claim that life is a gift from God. A positive, something wonderful. Even though this wonderful gift will ultimately result in eternal suffering for most of us. Anybody else thinks this is a tad ironic? Seriously people, this is a real question. How can you praise God as being benevolent while at the same time believing that He created us with the knowledge, okay, that the vast majority of us will end up in hell, being tortured forever and ever? I mean, if this is the case, it would have been an act of kindness, of mercy even, not to create life in the first place. You know, to avoid generating so much suffering. Think about it this way. Let's say that there is a school with 1,000 children and you are their teacher or somebody in a high position of power. And you decide to bring all these children gifts, knowing that the vast majority of these gifts are something horrible. So okay, a few kids, let's say 50 of them, get indeed something wonderful. Whatever you think to be the perfect gift, something that will last them a lifetime and will bring them happiness and joy and all that shit. But the other 950 kids will get something that will cause them a lifetime of misery and suffering. So one of them opens his gift and gets injected with AIDS. Another one opens his gift and there's a fucking bear trap in there that snaps and cuts his fucking face off. And another gets like an anthrax bomb. So you get all these horrible, torturous things for the majority of these kids. I mean, if you had this knowledge, would you still go ahead and give all these children the gifts? And even more important, if you did that, would you consider yourself benevolent for it? Because a few kids got something great while the rest of them got utterly fucked? And do you think they should worship you for it? And praise your name and think of you as being all good? No, you would be considered an evil motherfucker. A sadistic piece of shit, son of a bitch, fucking little fuck. Like, what the fuck? Or something similar. Now, of course, this goes to the people who believe in a God that is at the same time all-knowing, all-powerful and all good. Maybe the God you believe in is none of these things. But then you would have to explain why a God like that should be worthy of worship. And if you think that this type of God doesn't need to be worthy of worship because you just don't have to worship it, then you would at least have to explain why the hell do you call it God. I mean, of course, you can define God any way you want to, but if it has none of the attributes that are generally ascribed to God, then just what's the point of it? I mean, this is like you would take a Barbie doll, cut off her hair, dress her in a black cape and call her Batman. Batman, Batman! Of course you can do that, but it just doesn't make much sense, does it? That's not fucking Batman, who are you kidding? That's a Barbie doll with a fucking cape on. Motherfucker. Open discussion, you can give it a shot. Comments, video responses, whatever. And now we can move on to the even more boring part of the video. Yay! Want some strawberries? Chocolate? Coke? Spliff? No? Okay, fine, whatever.
Like a rock, like a planet.
So I finally finished another series of space-inspired paintings, and this time I've done 4 paintings. All of them are my personal rendition of the Zeta Auriga binary star system, in which the main star is a red supergiant and the companion star is a smaller and brighter blue star. I made the first 2 paintings of the stars as viewed from space, and of course the planets are hypothetical. We don't know if there are planets or not orbiting this binary. The third painting is a view from a planet that's really close to the main star, so it's very molten and hot, and this is the first time I use a palette knife instead of a brush to paint these rocks, and I really enjoyed it. It's a fun way to paint and create textures. The fourth painting is a view from a moon orbiting a planet, and again, all of this is fictional. I said this before, these paintings are simply inspired by space science. By no means they are accurate representations. I don't even know what kind of atmosphere a moon should have for the sky to be purple or purple-ish. I just paint things the way I like it, the way I personally envision them.
Speak clean and I will run until I reach the shore. I've known it all along, like the bone under my skin, like actors in a photograph.
So all these 4 paintings are now up for auction on eBay, the link will be in the low bar, and I hope you like them, and thank you to everyone who bid on my previous paintings, including the people who didn't win. I just never got a chance to thank all of you because I really appreciate it, and all your positive feedback just made me happy, which is really cheesy, so I'm gonna stop now. Random Kitty, bye bye!